All right, this is how to change your oil on your 2007 Sequoia. Same as other body styles, other years. Remove your oil cap. Very important. All right, let's go under here. Usually there's like a big metal splash guard under here for like overlanding or whatever people do with these things. The guy bought this from over tightened that splash guard and stripped out these holes. So literally like the thing was holding on by a thread, so I just took it off. But it's 4 bolts, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and it just slides forward. That's the oil filter. It's really easy to get to. There's the oil pan. That's really easy to get to. You need a 14 socket, maybe a breaker bar. You shouldn't need a breaker bar. You need that oil filter tool, some oil. All right, so I position my catch pan. Take your 14. This shouldn't be hard to take off. You should not need a breaker bar unless the person who was working on it before you over tightened it. I've changed this before, so I was the person that did it before, but I have a leak in the oil pan because the same guy that owned it before that over tightened the splash guard screws, over tightened the oil drain plug, and if you strip that, you have to get a new oil pan, so don't strip it. I'm taking it off by hand, and I'm putting pressure, pushing up until I know that that bolt is ready to come out, and then I pull it straight down so I don't splash oil, so it doesn't like go everywhere. So I put pressure up and then just take it out real quick. Letting this oil drain. Should be about 5 to 6 quarts. I think it's like 5, I don't really know. I'm not a mechanic, by the way. I just changed my own oil. And then I grab another thing to catch oil, and I position it underneath the oil filter. Super easy to get to. This is literally like the easiest oil change. You get this, what is that, like an oil filter wrench or something? I don't know. Adjust it properly, and this should not be hard to take off. It should just, very minimal torque, a couple turns. I've taken the oil filter off without this tool. It just makes it a lot easier. And see, I'm kind of positioning that other oil catch pan underneath. Do it by hand. This kind of gets a little messy. It is what it is. Oil's coming out. There you go. So give that a second to drain. All right, it's all drained. Grab your new oil filter. In this, you're going to want to put some oil on that rubber gasket part. I'm just using the old motor oil. I'm just dipping my finger in there and making sure that it's not going on dry. You don't want to do that. All right, nice and oiled up. Let's put it back on. Obviously it goes there. And so you want to put this on very, I don't know how to say it, like daintily. Like you don't want to be pushing it all. And see how easily it goes on there, and it should just spin freely. It should not be hard to do. One time I forced one on when I was first learning how to do oil changes like 20 years ago, and ended up with oil all over the ground when I started the car. So don't do that. It should be nice and free. And then torque it down with your hands. You don't want to over tighten like these things. You don't want to over tighten anything. Like I'm sure there's like a torque specification, but I don't use torque wrenches really, and like it's an old car, so who knows what people have done to it. Just a couple turns, maybe less than a quarter of a turn. All right, now we're going to replace our oil drain bolt. There it is. Kind of clean it up. I just like to clean it up a little bit. I have a little leak just because the guy before me over tightened this, so hand tighten it. Some people replace that bolt. I should probably try that. Maybe I will next time. Yeah, so I torque it down by hand, and then I get my 14, get it on there. And like I said, you don't want to over tighten these things. If you over tighten it and strip that, you're going to end up having to replace your oil pan. So just, I mean, I'm sure you can use a torque wrench or something, but I'm just kind of feeling it, like, you know, I'm putting, I don't know, just figure it out. All right, now we're going to replace the oil. A little funnel action. Open your oil, very important. All right, pour in some oil. So the Sequioa, when you do the oil filter, will take, I think, between like 5.5 and 6 quarts. So go ahead and pour all 5 quarts in without really worrying about it. I like to get all the oil, so I just kind of like balance it up there. Checking underneath, I just have a phobia of oil spilling out for some reason because it happened to me once. So I check underneath. Now we're going to check our dipstick to kind of see our levels. Dipstick out. It was a little low, obviously, because it should be about 5.5, 6. Add some more oil. Just check the dipstick again. I mean, this should be right. And it is. Once again, I'm not a mechanic. I just changed my own oil. Put the oil cap back on. I knew a guy in high school where he took his car to a shop and they didn't put that back on and it sprayed oil everywhere. So, yeah. Clean up your stuff. That's it. You're welcome.